Brad, a good performance last week, but this week against some really top-class opposition, is it a good chance to get a real gauge on where you're at?
Oh, look, we're just looking forward to the challenge. I mean, Port are a very good side. The fixture's set up now that, as everyone knows now, that the best teams play each other early, and Port have been better than most people probably give them credit for in the first 2 rounds. So we're expecting a really good challenge, and we're up for it.
What did you take out of the way Sydney just really sort of dismantled them at Adelaide Oval? What lessons did you get out of that?
Yeah, I don't know that they dismantled them. I mean, they won by 40-odd points in the end, but there was a bit of a war of attrition. They didn't put together 5 or 6 unanswered goals. They just I suppose ground them down over time, and that's a Sydney trademark. So I mean, I don't take anything away from Port Adelaide in that. I just, if anything, I just think that they're both very good sides, but Sydney are in really good nick at the moment. So I think Port are going to still present a real challenge to us, and look, we're a different side to Sydney, and it's going to be a great contest at Etihad this weekend.
Frenetic pressure from Freo, obviously in the first round as well. Do you feel like you guys are capable of bringing that same sort of pressure that the Dockers and the Swans have had?
Oh, well, I think Fremantle, Sydney, Hawthorn, they're the benchmarks in that area. So we aspire to be at that level, but I don't think that we could lay claim to being as good as they are right at the moment. But we're certainly working towards that. So if we don't, one thing I know is that if we don't pressure well enough, Port Adelaide will use the ball really well. Probably still the best offensive team in the competition, along with Hawthorn.
Everyone talks about their speed, Port Adelaide. Is it still a case of blunting that to a certain extent, as you say, with the pressure?
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, you can be as quick as you like, but if you haven't got the ball, it doesn't matter. So the game will be won and lost in the contest, as it always is. I think the ruck battle will be crucial, and the midfield battle will be crucial, and whoever gets right on top there will probably make it hard for the opposition to defend.
Is that an area you do maybe feel you've got a bit of an edge given the form Goldstein's in?
Oh yeah, I mean, Goldie's in good form. We expect him to compete well against any ruck in the competition, but Patrick Wright is a very good player, and his best position probably is the ruck. So with Lobie out, he probably gets the opportunity to play there predominantly. So it's going to be a great challenge, and they've had some great battles in the past, and it will, I suspect, go a fair way to determining the winner on Saturday night.
Brad, there's been plenty of talk about the surface at Etihad. Do you know if there's going to be any changes to that area in front of the interchange bench?
We haven't asked, and we haven't been told. So we're if you go back and have a look at Etihad Stadium in 2000, 2001, 2 and 3, it's an infinitely better venue than it was in terms of surface. We love playing there. We've got no concerns with the ground.
You're completely confident that Wells is fit to play?
Oh, well, look, I mean, he's trained really well. I mean, we didn't expect him to train yesterday, and he did. So that gives me a lot more confidence than I had probably 2 days ago. But one thing we know about Daniel is he's a Rolls Royce, and he needs to be feeling at his best to play his best. And some other players are a little bit different in that they can carry injuries. But when you've got players who've got elite speed and agility, if you blunt that, then you take away a lot of their strength. So we'll only play Wellesley if he's 100%.
And Scott Thompson, similar boat?
No, he's fine. No worries. Played out the game. No problem.
Your comment on Wells. That's still, you just got to wait and see with him. Is it still that to an extent?
Oh no, we picked him because we think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
But things can happen between now and game time. So again, we're really confident. We wouldn't have picked him otherwise. But again, if he's not perfect, he won't play. So that's pretty simple for Daniel.
Ryan Bastanak dropped after round 1 back in the team. What do you want to see from him to keep his place? What does he need to do?
Well, look, he wasn't our worst performer round 1. He just, we're really looking for Ryan to take the next step, because potential is a word that gets thrown around a lot in footy these days, and I think he has great capability. I think he's got, does have that potential to take the next step into the very good to elite bracket of midfielders. And he'll get his opportunity to do that this week, and we're just looking for him to take that opportunity.
And you backed Joel after round 1. He's now out of the side. Robbie comes in. Just your thoughts there?
Yeah, look, we still back Joel Tippett. I mean, I suspect it's going to be the way we pick our side all year, and that it's a little bit of a horses for courses approach in terms of what the opposition present, what the strengths of our side present. So Now this week with Port Adelaide's forward line, it's a little bit smaller. We think that there's a better matchup for Robbie Tarrant there, but Joel Tippett will still be a really important part of our defence throughout 215.
And just a word on Dow, that's obviously a big blow for you guys. Just your thoughts on covering that and how you can cope without him?
Yeah, we've talked about our depth, and we think we bat pretty deep through the midfield. So, but you don't replace a player of Dal Sando's class easily. So it's just going to be a different type. We're really disappointed for him, and to be honest, I'm a little shocked because it wasn't. I wasn't telling fibs in the post-game press conference last week. My information at the time was that we were going to do everything to get him up for this game. Dal felt very little to no pain. He had full range of motion, and then to hear that he needs surgery was a real shock. So that's still, I suppose, sinking in for him and for us. But we'll get him back at his best and take a conservative approach. There are cameras there, and look at. We'll when one player goes down, others get opportunity. Ryan Bassinet gets his opportunity this week, so he's a quality player, and we think he'll be able to fill the breach.
Is there any word on how Dal's surgery went?
Yeah, fantastically well. But I'm yet to hear a surgeon say that he mucked it up. So.
And what was your reaction when it became clear that it was a hell of a lot worse than what you expected your heart must have said?
Yeah, look, it did, and it's hard. It sounds a little bit cold and callous at times because as a coach, you've got to move on really quickly, and you look at the guys who can get out there and play for the team that current week. But it feels like not so long ago I was playing, and injuries take their toll, and it can be a pretty dark and lonely place. So I really feel for Dal, but my responsibility is to the football club and to the 22 who represent our footy club this week. So unfortunately, you've got to move on quickly.
I think that Port have won something like 6 out of past 16, notwithstanding their strong final series. Is there any credibility in the theory that people started to work out their game style and that's hurting them? Or?
Oh no, I don't buy into that. I think Port Adelaide have had the challenge, like a couple of other sides, of playing the best teams early, and in finals you play the best teams as well. So. That's just the run they've had. They'll still play a big part in 2015, I'm sure, but we've got to make sure it doesn't start this week.
Games like this where you're taking on a side that you probably are expected to be jostling with for position at the end of the season, do they take on any added significance?
No, they just offer 4 points. And it just gives you the opportunity to position yourself for the end of the season. I mean, there's no more, no less than that.
You're getting a sense the game has changed. I say it evolves each year based on what small sample size, but has it changed in any way that you can read?
Oh yeah, it has. I mean, it's always evolving. And we're noticing some changes in the way that teams want to play, and we're trying to stay one step ahead of that. So, the lesson to me is that you just can't get complacent with something you're doing well, because it's going to get worked out and it's going to change pretty quickly. So, I think the game's evolving, but for the better. I mean, I think the game is in unbelievable condition at the moment. The AFL have strived for a long time to get a really even competition, and the results last week should give everyone the indication that this is as even a time as there has been in AFL history. And that's, I said in pre-season, this year is going to be the most competitive ever, and I think it's the 2 rounds so far have proven that.
Just on that, Brad, is there anything that stood out early in the season, the first 2 rounds, where you say the game is evolving and changing, other than perhaps even a bit more free-flowing than last year?
Yeah, look, I think at the moment, early on in the year, most teams, particularly those that didn't play finals, have got their best teams together. They've had a lot of training, they're fit and they're fresh, and not too many teams have too many injuries. So you get some really good quality footy at the moment, and everyone's trying to move the ball. I think that the way sides are attacking now is really exciting, and it's probably going to take till mid-year to see if other teams can defend a little bit better. But the offensive side of the game certainly evolved.
Terrific.
Thank you.